Good morning, all. In previous lecture, we had learned with the connective tissue, loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, and modified or specialized connective tissue. Now, the muscle tissue muscle tissue, we had learned this in the 20th chapter. Each muscle is made of many long cylindrical fibers arranged in parallel arrays. These fibers are composed of numerous fine fibrils called as myofibrils. As you know that muscle is made up of muscle bundle fiber. Muscle bundle fiber is made up of muscle bundle. Muscle bundle is made up of myofibril, and that myofibril is made up of sarcomere, and that's why the sarcomere is known as structural and functional unit of the skeletal muscle. Muscle fibers contract, become short in response to stimulation, then relax, that is lengthen. Actually, relaxation is the reverse procedure of the contraction. So, muscle move from the contracted stage to the original stage is known as relaxation. Just for example, this is the normal anatomical position of my upper limb. So, when I will do the elbow movement, my biceps muscles are contracted. So, this is known as contraction of the bicep muscles, and now I can come back to the original position, that is known as relaxation, and return to their uncontracted state in the coordinated fashion. Their actions move the body to adjust to change in the environment and to maintain the position of the various parts of the body. In general, muscles play an active role in all the movements of the body. Muscles are of three types: skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscle, that we had already learned in the 20th chapter. Skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle tissue is closely attached to the skeletal bones. In the typical muscle, such as a biceps in the front of the arm, striated or stripped skeletal muscles are bundled together in parallel fashion. That's why here the skeletal muscle name is given. Why? Because these muscles are connected to the bones of the skeleton. As well as here in the structure, we see that stria or strips. That's why it is known as stripped muscle or striated muscles. Along with that, here the contraction is in controlled manner by our somatic nervous system. So the contraction of the muscles controlled by ourselves. That's why it is known as voluntary muscles. A sheet of tough connective tissue encloses several bundles of the muscle fiber. You will learn more about this in chapter 20. Smooth muscles. Fibers taper at both the ends, known as fusiform. So you remember that fusiform is spindle shaped. So what is the meaning of the spindle shape? Both the side it is pointed and in the center side it is broad. See in the diagram. So spindle shells are there and here no stria. So smooth muscles are also known as non-striated muscles. Smooth muscles or visceral muscles or involuntary muscles. Okay, so these names are given there and do not show striations. Such junctions hold them together and they are bundled together in the connective tissue. See, the wall of internal organs such as blood vessels, stomach and intestine contains this type of the muscle tissue. So I can write, I can tell you that edit the some important points here. Blood vessel along with the stomach and along with that intestine, you add such points. Ciliary muscles present in the eye, uterine muscles, urinary bladder muscles, esophageal muscles, tracheal muscles, pharyngeal muscles, and here you consider that in the blood vessel only artery, urinary bladder muscles, urethral muscles, in reproductive tract, male and female reproductive tract. In male reproductive tract, actually in the epididymis muscles are there, peristaltic movement is there in the epididymis. So in this many portions of the body we have involuntary muscles. Smooth muscles are involuntary as their functioning cannot be directly controlled. We usually are not able to make it contract merely by thinking about it as we can do with the skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscles doing the movement according to our wish, but involuntary muscles cannot do the activity according to our wish. Cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscle tissue is the contractile tissue present only in the heart. Due to the presence of the muscles in the heart, we give the name here cardiac muscles. Cell junctions fuse the plasma membrane of the cardiac muscle cells and make them stick together. The communicated junction between the two stria, actually here the cardiac muscle is striated muscle, exactly similar to it, but the stria connected together by interconnecting, and here it is known as intercalatal disc. At some fusion points allow the cells to contract as a unit, that is, when one cell receives the signal to contract, its neighbors are also stimulated to contract. And that's why here in the cardiac muscle we have to give the stimuli to the only one part of that organ. Just for example, if we give the stimulus to the SA node only, the whole heart is contracted. So here the impulse is transmitted into the all the muscle fibers through intercalated disc. Now the neural tissue. Nervous tissue is also known as neuroglia. And here in the nervous tissue, the two types of the cells are there. Neuron, that is nerve cell, and glial cells. Nerve cell is also known as neuron. It is present in the nerve, or we say that nerve fiber. That's why neuron or nerve cell is known as structural and functional unit of the nervous system. Yes, our nervous system is made up of the nerves or nerve fiber. And the nerve fiber is made up of the neurons. And that's why the neurons are structural and functional unit of the nervous tissue. Whereas glial cells are present surrounding to the neurons. So it is helpful for giving the support as well as it provide the protection to the neuron. And that's why here is known as neuroglia. So now I can draw the diagram of the neuron, but actually we learned this in detail about this neuron and how the impulse is generated as well as transmitted, okay, and move from the one nerve cell to another nerve cell, that we will learn in the 21st chapter. So here I can draw the diagram only and then complete this topic. Okay, this is the diagram of the neuron or nerve cell. Actually, you have learned this in the 10th standard. Here, when you see it properly, nerve cell, it is made up of two things. This region is known as cell body, or you say that cytone. Fine. And then remaining portion, this is known as nerve fiber. So nerve cell consists of two regions, cell body or say that cytone as well as nerve fiber. Here, this is the main star-shaped body. Sometimes in nerve cell, round shape, oval shape, star-shaped cell body is there. So here, this is the star-shaped cell body, and here these fine filaments like structure, these are known as dendrites. This is known as star-shaped cell body. The centermost side blue color region, it is known as nucleus of the neuron. Surrounding to the nucleus, the green dots are known as Nissal's granules. And the red color portion, dotted one, it is known as neuroplasm. Or you say that it is the cytoplasm of the nerve cell, the fluid portion. Now, the long filament-like structure, it is known as axon fiber. It is known as axon. Axon is surrounded by blue colored layer is known as myelin sheath. It is lipid layer. Now this myelin sheath is surrounded by the cells, and these cells are known as Schwann cell. Schwann cells are supporting cells to the axon fiber, and this red dot is nothing but the nucleus of Schwann cell. Fine. Now, the green color layer surrounding to this Schwann cell is known as Lima. The surrounding layer, outermost layer of the axon fiber or outermost layer of the neuron, that is known as Lima. And here the Lima, it is present in the notch form. So this is known as node of Ranvier. The notch which is present between the two successive Schwann cells is known as node of Ranvier. Now here these fibers are present of the axon. It is known as axon terminals, or you say that it is axon fibers. And at the end of this axon fiber, the one dotted structures are there. It is known as synaptic node. Okay, so this is the labeling of the neuron. Now you remember that we obtain the sensation always from this dendrite region. So from dendrites we obtain the sensation and transmit it towards this region. So here this is known as direction of nerve impulse. So remember that nerve impulse is always directed in this way. Fine. So always we obtain the sensation from the dendrites and give it to the axon. Axon it gives to the axon fibers and then present in the synaptic node, and then this impulse is now transmitted to the next neuron by the synapse. You know that the gap between the two successive neurons, that is known as synapse. So this is about the structure of the neuron. So here I can stop now. Remaining things we will discuss in the next lecture.